There is evidence that victims of poor mental health may be more likely to radicalize with terrorist organizations. How can we use the knowledge we have on this link to better counterterrorism approaches? Countering Violent Extremism, or CVE programs, is a counterterrorism strategy that recruits social workers, public health professionals, teachers, and other community leaders to engage and counsel individuals to prevent radicalization. These programs are carried out through the forms of intervention, social service, community outreach, counter-messaging, and other examples found in the chart displayed on the right. Within the U.S., there are two conflicting stances on these programs. Some people support these programs and view that when they are well implemented, CVE is effective in preventing the youth from radicalizing, allowing law enforcement to focus on individuals who are already in extremist groups. However, others have called out these programs for specifically targeting the Muslim community and questioned the effectiveness of these programs since they have shown no actual concrete evidence of reducing terrorism. There are examples of CVE programs in cities all around the U.S. shown in this chart that frequently use these vague indicators as predictors of terrorism. The metrics by which extremism is measured are inherently skewed to focus on Muslim communities, such as lack of opportunities and weak parental support in Somali families. This causes fear and backlash from the Muslim community, since CVE programs still target them despite the most severe terrorism threat in the recent years coming from far-right individuals. The current state of U.S. CVE programs is unhealthy. The indicators that CVE programs are based on overlap with indicators of mental health conditions. This results in a gray area between the two, since these conditions, such as feeling isolated and alienated, are not easily distinguishable. We can't box these together, since the vagueness of the terrorism indicators harm and cause fear in individuals in certain communities, and are too similar to the indicators of mental health conditions. However, it is important to consider why these indicators were made in the first place. There is much literature and research on mental health conditions, and the suppression of these conditions actually resulting in individuals joining extremist groups. This is most likely why CVE terrorism indicators are what they are. The bottom line is that there is an overlap, and there needs to be immediate reform on these programs due to the overall harm that these programs could inflict. By looking at CVE programs through a mental health perspective, which seems to be the root of both the indicators and the problems, there are many ways that these programs can be reformed. The recommendations that I am proposing for reform are overall focused around giving better treatment to individuals and reducing the implicit bias that is found within these programs. Some of my recommendations are to adopt a public health approach to CVE based on what we are currently doing in the U.S. regarding bioterrorism and street violence, to take perspectives both from young adults and women through empowerment strategies when considering and reforming CVE programs, and to learn from what outside actors have implemented regarding mental health, specifically looking at what Canada, Australia, and the UN have been doing. By implementing these recommendations into CVE programs, America will do their part in acknowledging mental health issues to reduce the rate of victim radicalization into terrorist organizations.